As a shorter rider myself, I know the struggle of trying to find an adventure bike that actually fits. But why is it such a struggle, and is there anything we can do about it? Let's start off with obvious: height. So I'm 160 centimeters tall, or short, and that is around 5 feet 3 inches. And there isn't a lot of adventure motorcycles on the market today with a low enough seat height for me to comfortably reach the ground. It's like there's a consensus on the market that whoever is looking for an adventure motorcycle is also kinda tall. It's like their target consumer is dudes over 1.8 meters. Brands like Ducati, Husqvarna or KTM is unfortunately a far stretch for us under 165 centimeters. But before we get too riled up about this injustice in height, let us just take a moment and remind ourselves about what the adventure bikes were actually designed to do and why they are so tall. Adventure bikes are designed to handle both paved roads and changing terrain. And the purpose with the bikes is to be able to go for long periods of time over changing terrain in the most comfortable way for the rider. One of the reasons why they are so tall is that they need to have a high ground clearance and big wheels. And that is because they need to navigate through rocky terrain. Another reason is the long suspension. It is designed to provide improved comfort and stability since it absorbs bumps in the roads more effectively, making the ride more smooth. Adventure bikes also need to have bigger fuel tanks so that you can ride for long periods of time without having the stress of needing to refuel often. And this is especially important when going to remote places where fuel stations may be difficult to find. But you know what? Adventure bikes is actually not only used in terrain. I would argue that a majority of them are actually used on paved roads most of the time. And in those cases, the need of high ground clearance isn't really such a big deal anymore, since the paved road is flat. So why are they still so tall then? I don't have the answer to that. But what I do know is that there are actually some manufacturers already that has created lowered versions of adventure bikes. Like for example the BMW F800 GS or the Triumph Tiger 900 GT Low. But that would have just made our lives a bit too easy, to be able to choose from different versions. So Triumph has actually decided to discontinue this low model, even though it was really liked and appreciated from both men and women. And the only reason I could think of is to presumably yet again focus on this consumer segment of the dudes over 1.8 meter. And BMW, well, even though the bikes are great, they cost a fortune. I need to be able to eat. So if that is the case, what can we do if we fall in love with a bike that is too tall for us? Well, one easy thing you can do is to actually switch out the original saddle on the bike to a lower versions with less cushioning. You can also look for bikes with a more narrow seat, since that will give you a few more centimeters down to the ground. Another way to lower the bike is to install a suspension kit. However, this is not without its faults, because when you are installing a suspension kit, you can affect the driving qualities of the bike negatively. What this means is that you can get a different and not as comfortable riding position. You can feel that the steering is different compared to how it should be, and the overall feeling of the bike can be very different from how it is intended from the manufacturer from the beginning. You also risk losing that smooth riding feeling, since a compressed suspension doesn't really have the same possibility to handle and absorb the bumps in the road. To not risk having these issues, it is always better to get a bike that has been lowered by the manufacturer and designed that way from the start, than to install a suspension kit later. And this is because the manufacturer has lowered not only the suspension, but also the whole frame of the bike, meaning that the center of gravity is not pushed backwards, it stays where it's intended to, it stays where it should be. But even though I have my reservations about installing a suspension kit, it is something you can still do, and it can actually be the difference between having the possibility to buy the bike that you want and dream of. So you just have to be aware that it can affect the driving qualities, unfortunately a bit negative. Another thing you can do, which is just a cheap, quick thing, is to buy boots with thicker sole or heels, so that you get those few extra centimeters that you need to be able to reach the ground. So what I'm saying is that I'm not giving up hope, and neither should you, because I've actually found 3 bikes that are really interesting that I want to try and perhaps take on with me. But before showing you the bikes, let us just take a moment and go through what qualities I'm looking for. So for me, the most important qualities is a sporty look, a light frame that is easy to handle and maneuver, a low seat height, a quick and responsive engine, and lastly some tech features like rain mode settings that would just make my life more easy. But enough about me, it's time to show you the first bike. First off, we have the CF Moto 450 MT. This bike is an excellent entry-level adventure motorcycle, offering great performance at a still a competitive price. One of the standout features of the 450 MT is that it has a very low seat height of just 80 centimeters. That is around 31.5 inches. It also has a fairly lightweight build, making it very easy to handle and maneuver. If you're looking to get into adventure riding without, spending a lot of money, this is an excellent choice that also comes with a lot of essential features, since CF Moto doesn't really skimp on, the technology. Overall, this is a great introduction to the adventure riding world. Next up is the Honda XL 750 Transalp, which is a true classic reborn. It doesn't really have the lowest seat height on paper with 85 centimeters or 33.5 inches, but the saddle is very narrow, making it in reality much lower. And if you have the low seat versions, it gets closer to 82 centimeters. But I would actually argue that it's even lower than that, just due to how narrow the saddle actually is. The new Honda Transalp comes with a 755cc parallel twin engine, which gives it a lot more power compared to the CF Moto 450, making it a better bike if you want to take on more challenging terrain or have more highway performance. With the Transalp, you get a smooth and strong engine that can comfortably take you through twisty mountain roads or on long highway stretches. Honda has a reputation of making really comfortable bikes, and the Transalp lives up to that legacy. In addition to the high performance and comfort, the Honda Transalp also has a really rugged frame, making it more than capable of handling off-road adventures. This is a perfect bike for anyone who wants a bike with a lot of power that can handle both paved roads or gravel with ease. Last but not least, we have the Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. This is just a true classic that is so ready to go on all of these off-road adventures with you. The Himalayan 450 is the perfect bike for anyone who wants an affordable, durable and solid engine that can take you for a lot of great fun on off-road terrain. This bike is built to be able to withstand the toughest terrain and tough weather conditions, whether you go on muddy trails or pouring rain or on gravel. It is really, all about that off-road experience. It has a really low seat height of just 80 centimeters, that is with the low seat height option. And one of the key features of the Himalayan is also its fuel range, since it has a bigger fuel tank, so you'll be able to go for longer distances without having to refuel. And this is, like I said earlier, very good if you're going in scarce and remote places where refueling stations are, difficult to find. It is also equipped with basic but reliable electronics. There's no, razzle and dazzle on this bike, but that also means that there are fewer things that can go wrong when you are far from civilization. So this bike is really that go-to bike if you want something that is reliable, easy to handle, and will take you on, all of these fantastic adventures far from home. All three of these bikes are excellent for adventure riding, but they serve different purposes. The CF Moto 450 MT is a perfect bike for anyone who is perhaps new to the adventure bike world or is looking for a budget-friendly option with something that is easy to handle and also comes with some essential tech features. The Honda XL 750 Transalp is ideal for riders who want a bit more power in the engine and also some versatility for both touring and off-roading experiences. And the Royal Enfield Himalayan 450 is perfect for those that want a rugged and classic bike with, no frills in electronics, just a reliable, solid engine that will take you to all of those remote places. Which one of these that are right for you really depends on your riding style, your overall height and your inseam length. And also, in the end, what you're looking for in an adventure bike, what you think looks cool. So, would you prefer something nimble and affordable like the CF Moto, versatile and comfortable like the Honda Transalp, or perhaps the off-roading machine like the Royal Enfield? Or do you have an example of a bike that I haven't even talked about today that you think could be really good for a short rider? Well, let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Until then, ride safe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!